died as a result of a firearm injury caused by an intermediate-range rifled weapon. 17-year-old Tufail Mattu was a student who was killed while on his way back from tuition on the 11th of June at the Ghani Memorial Stadium in Srinagar's Rajouri Kadal. Our correspondent Idris Lone now joins us live from Srinagar. Idris, tell us a bit more about how you got access to this autopsy report, and have you had a word with the doctors in charge?
Well, absolutely, Sana. Let me take you back. The IG Kashmir for the first time accepted this on NewsX for the first time, that the boy was killed in a police action. He did mention that this was the second such killing which had taken place in the same area of downtown Rajouri Kadal, where the second teenager boy had become a victim of police action, especially the tear gas shelling. Now, talking about the autopsy report, I've got it from my sources, and I would like to read out some of the pointers which are very important in this autopsy report, because there are some positives as well as negatives in the autopsy report. I'm going to read out the first point that says that a single entrance wound over left parietal region circular, well defined with burnt blackish inverted margins measuring half-inch in diameter, brain matter exposed. So definitely a cause. The cause of the death was here some kind of weapon which was used by police, whether the weapon was a tear gas shell rifle or a gun actually used to shoot, and it was most of the people are saying that it was a rubber bullet. The second point, which is very important, is saying that there is an injury caused by an intermediate range rifle weapon, typically showing a clean-cut circular hole with inverted edges. The whole cranium was damaged due to the crater effect. The third point, the impact of injury was so destructive that it totally shattered the contents of cranium, including skull bones, and due to involvement of greater surface on the head, which resulted in his instantaneous death on spot. So definitely reaching the conclusion that the boy was killed in police action. But there are some vague points which have been made in the autopsy report, which I would like to mention. The first being, they have not come to any conclusion whether the boy was hit by a bullet or a tear gas shell. There is no conclusion by the doctors on that. And the doctors who have actually done this autopsy, the 4 doctors, there's a pathologist, there's an assistant surgeon, and there's a medical superintendent of the Gupkar hospital. But there doesn't seem to be a single person from the forensic science laboratory who was present during the autopsy report. So definitely raising a lot of questions about this autopsy report also.
Right, Idris. A very crucial point you've mentioned out from that autopsy report that was taken care of by these 4 doctors. You said that even after mentioning very clearly in that report that there was a kind of wound, a kind of hole that was formed inside the boy's skull, that teenager boy's skull, everything has been mentioned over here, things to suggest that probably it was a tear gas shell, it was a rubber bullet, either one of them, but no conclusion being made after all. Now that's really strange, no conclusion. And also the other point that you mentioned was no person from the forensic team was a part of this autopsy report. But Idris, from what we've come to know now, from what conclusion that we have, is that this indeed was a death in police action. It's going to draw some angry reactions now from the people in the valley, isn't it?
Well, absolutely, Sana. People of the valley have been angry from the day one. They have been protesting against the killing of this teenager, Tufail Ahmed Mattu, from day one. Last Friday, he was killed in the police action, and the family members have been keeping this version. If you remember, we have been running the bites of people who were present at the location in the Ghani Stadium at that time, who were claiming from day one, who were present on the spot, that this boy was killed in police action. And police kept on saying, I did speak to IG Kashmir on the same day, who kept on saying that this was a clear-cut murder case where unidentified men had got down and killed this person on the spot. And then they were the men who had taken him to the hospital and left him at the hospital gate. That was the police version that was coming till few days then when IG actually spoke to NewsX exclusively, saying that this was the second such death where a teenager boy had become a victim of police action. So definitely the point that I will try to raise again here is that the wound was actually half an inch, injuring the head at half an inch diameter, which raises a lot of questions whether it was a bullet or a tear gas shell. Because if it was a tear gas shell, it would have definitely damaged more of an area of his head. But now the doctors have come to a conclusion that it was a half an inch injury in diameter, which raises a lot of questions that whether it was a rubber bullet that had hit this boy. Because some of our sources are saying that the policemen came down from their vehicle and shot this boy directly onto his head. Whether this was a rubber bullet or a regular bullet, that we still don't know, because the doctors have not come to any conclusion on that, but definitely raising a lot of questions regarding that.
Absolutely. Now, Idris, with this report that we have now, with what it says, the Jammu and Kashmir police clearly in the dock, they'll have to do some serious answering at this point. As you were mentioning earlier, that the IG of the Jammu and Kashmir police, he had accepted that yes, the boy did die in police action. So this autopsy report making it even more clear now as to whose fault this is.
Well, absolutely, Sana. I did try to get in the IG Kashmir as well as the SSP Srinagar, but both of them aren't picking up my calls anymore. So it does seem that they have come to a conclusion that the boy was killed in the police action. That's why they're not speaking to media. I did get in touch with the divisional commissioner, who the doctor's report was submitted to the divisional commissioner of Srinagar. I did get in touch with him, and he did say that he did mention that yes, the boy was killed in police action. So definitely it has come to a conclusion that the boy now was killed in police action. And the IG Kashmir has also made a statement last week saying that the DIG will investigate this matter, and the further investigations will take place, and whoever is culprit in this case will be punished. But as of now, I did try to get in touch with, after receiving this report from our sources, we did try to get in touch with the IG Kashmir as well as SSP Srinagar, but they aren't picking our calls anymore.
All right, Idris, we'll leave it at that. Thanks very much for joining us now. We'll leave you to get